Let me tell you a story. So I don't know what you wanted to do after high school, but I had no idea. Because I was raised in Potchefstroom in the Northwest, and we've got the Northwest University there. That's pretty much what you go do, or that's the idea you've got. You know, you gotta go do a degree at the university, and pretty much anything else I just look down upon. If I hear someone's doing anything else, I'm just like, that guy doesn't know what he's gonna be doing, you know. Meanwhile, I don't know what I'm doing. It's just easier to say I'm studying a degree instead of like I've got no idea what I'm doing. And among younger people or people in their 20s, you don't even ask them what they're doing, you ask them what they're studying, because the automatic idea is just you studying at the university, you know. So while I'm busy doing this and not really knowing what else to do, at least I had one thing going for me. I was gymming. I had been gymming since I was 15 years old. It was a big part of my life, big part of my identity, and it suddenly kind of took over. Like, I was gymming 6 days a week and feeling really good, but also looking good. And I started getting obsessed with how I look. I just couldn't walk past a mirror and not check myself out at all. Whenever I was bored, I'd go on my phone and go look at pictures of myself, and pictures where I'm like posing or flexing or doing some kind of exercise or something. And I got really self-absorbed. And then I get a girlfriend, and it sends me up even more, like such an ego trip. Now I've got a girl, I've got the body. My girl is a really beautiful girl. And suddenly my world starts revolving around her. So that time I used to waiter as well on the side. I would not shoot for shifts to go and waiter out of fear that she's going to invite me to go do something without notice, and I can't say no. And it's nothing that she did. Out of my own, I couldn't not spend time with her. And if there was an opportunity, I'd just be there like that. Anything and everything else took a backseat. Family time, friends, like they could be a braai with a friend. I don't care if it's his birthday. I'd quickly go and say hi or something, you know. But I'd be on the way to my girlfriend, and we end up sleeping together. And the reason I'm saying that is because it was really significant to me. I'd always been the Christian, the holy friend in the group. They all knew my parents. They all knew that we are Christians, that we go to church, that I don't drink, I don't smoke. But meanwhile, I don't drink and smoke because of the gym. Like, I'm so obsessed with results. I don't want to do anything that's unhealthy for the results, you know. So I remember on matric vacation, a friend of mine coming in, my best friend, telling me that he slept with a girl, and I physically assaulted him. Like, I told you, you can't do that. If there's one thing I learned in church, it's that you don't sleep with someone, you don't have sex before marriage. And I was mad at him. And after this girl and I do it, I go to his house and I tell him, please just hit me. Like, I'm feeling so ashamed and so guilty and just so like dirty for what I just did. And I don't stop doing it, and the relationship turns sour, and she breaks up with me, and my whole life just crashes down. Like, suddenly I don't know why I have to wake up in the morning, why I have to get out of bed, why I've got to go brush my teeth, why do I have to go shower, why do I have to eat. I don't even have an appetite. I'm losing kilograms worth of weight, and I've got no motivation to go gym. I don't have energy to go gym. I'm just lying in my room all the time, literally just lying in my bed. And we started smoking. The first time I smoked weed was on matric vacation. One of my friends actually got some newspaper roll, and they rolled up a joint, and we smoked it, and oh my, that thing burnt a hole. It felt like it was it burnt a hole in my throat. Just the burning sensation. But then next moment, you know, you're just like happy and happy-go-lucky and falling around and laughing and just making jokes, and life just feels so light, you know. You're just like in a different headspace. You don't even know where you are anymore. It's just you're a different person. You're like a kid or something, you know, But I realized when I was smoking with them now and then, especially after the breakup, I would feel a little bit better when I do it. So I kept doing it, and I start actually learning how to roll myself. And I start buying from one of my friends. Started dealing. I started buying from him. So if I'm not at his flat smoking with him, I'm at home smoking alone. I'm isolating myself. And this turned into such a big thing, because we would always justify smoking weed, like it's healthy, it's better than being drunk. The stuff you do, it's like, it's not harmful to others. You're just laughing and being friendly and having a good time, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. So I start smoking daily, multiple times a day, just to feel better. Because you do feel better for a little while. It does make you forget, and it does nothing to the problem. It just kind of numbs the pain for a little while, and then you've got to do it again, and then you've got to do it again. And one of the things we always argued about is that weed isn't a gateway drug. Like, you don't smoke weed and then go do other drugs. It's not addictive. It's even healthy, man. It's even healthy. That's what we all were saying, talking to each other about, telling other people. My dad actually found out I was smoking weed. I had arguments with him about that. It's fine. It's nothing wrong and stuff, you know. So we start dabbling in some other stuff. We try some magic mushrooms. We try some acid. Try some MDMA. Ecstasy, and before I know it, I'm like chronically depressed. I still didn't get over the girl, but now it's like the chemicals in my head is all messed up. I don't feel happy when I should feel happy. I'm just feeling nothing all the time, but like a deep, numb kind of darkness just comes over me, and I'm just trying to go through the motions. I'm just trying to like survive, but I feel like I don't want to wake up anymore. I wake up and when I wake up, I'm just disappointed. Like, another day I'm alive, you know? And one day I walk into the kitchen. My dad, usually when he drives long roads, he would take his pistol with him just for safety purposes. I walk into the kitchen and I see he left his pistol on the counter. And I walk up to the pistol and I pick it up and I look at it and I ask myself, just straight up, the honest question, why don't I shoot myself? Like, I just want to understand why not, because it doesn't feel like I want to. But there's no reason not to. I mean, so why not? You know, it's making me curious. And the thought pops into my mind, I can't do this to my mom and my dad and my brother and my family and my friends. Like, it would probably hurt them so much. But then, next moment, I'm just so mad at them for withholding me from doing this, you know? I mean, it's a win-lose situation. I've got to keep on suffering just to keep them happy. But I kind of decide, okay, let's just try and make it through another day. And I think that it was the next morning I woke up and I was praying, but I wasn't really praying that time, you know. I was just basically saying, just like, all I was doing was saying, please, I can't do this anymore, just let it be over. And I see this image in my mind. It's like a very dark room, and suddenly this bright white light shines in, and as quickly as it comes in, it went out again. And I'm left with the thought, how could you possibly know that the rest of your life is going to be as bad as it's going with you right now? You are, as a human, I can't even tell you what's going to be happening tomorrow. I don't know what the future holds. So how could you, you know, by committing suicide, tell me that I did it now because my life's always going to be this bad? And I thought, yeah, actually, nice. A pretty logical argument, I'd say. I don't know if it was God. Now I'm where I am in my life now, I'm thinking maybe that was God, but probably maybe was. But by that time I was just thinking, cool thought, you know, yeah, I agree. So I wake up the next morning and I still feel as bad as the morning before, and I realized like I thought I couldn't go on anymore. Now it looks like, oh well, I'm just kind of going on, but this time it's with a little bit of hope, just enough curiosity about what the future may hold, that I just kind of want to stick it out and see what happens, you know. So a little while after that, a friend invites me to go with him to visit his family. A friend I'd met just like a month before. I found out he's studying with me and he helped me with an economics exam. So I go there with him. Meet his parents, super healthy parents, healthy household, nice friends and family that he's got. But especially his friends stand out to me because they're just weird. Like they don't smoke and they don't drink. And they don't do drugs. I don't hear anything about that. They don't even curse. Like, they're not swearing at each other, and they're just weird. And it's a nice environment. And after a while, I realized, oh, these are like his church friends or something. And we start spending more time together. And one night, I'm sitting in my room, and this thought just hits me: why did I think I have to study something that I hate to go do a job that I won't like? Just to make money. Like, no one ever told me that's what I'm supposed to do, but I just assumed that's what I'm supposed to do, you know? And I take this thought a bit further and I realize, well, actually, I've always loved the gym and loved working out, why don't I go do something in terms of exercise, something like a personal trainer or something. So I get home and I start doing this little certificate, and I realize this is actually, I can do this, and I'm enjoying this, so let me pursue this. So I end up being so totally just driven by that, and I suddenly felt alive again, that I decide I'm not going to continue with this degree anymore. Like, this thing is killing me, literally. Would have killed me if this didn't come along. So I'm not going to stick it out with this anymore. And against all the better wishes of my parents, I decided to stop studying. I remember when I told it to my dad, like, he wasn't happy at all. So for the next couple of months, I feel like a huge disappointment. But it's not that they didn't make me feel that way. I just felt that way out of myself. That's just the way I thought. That's the way I was seeing the story play out, But I start doing the personal training thing, and I start going to a gym, working there, training these high school kids. And the more I train them and the more I help them out, the more I feel fulfilled, and the more I feel like this is what I want to do with my life. This is helping someone with something I love to do, to kind of create value for them, so that they don't have to make the same mistakes I did. And I'm loving it. And a couple months in, I'm listening to this podcast one day. It's like a fitness podcast. And I hear this one guy really knows what he's talking about. Like, if you know something about, something, and you hear someone else talking about that same thing, you can kind of figure out, does he know what he's talking about or not? And this guy really knew what he was talking about. So I decide, let me go check out this guy. And I see he's got a gym in Belito. And my parents let us know we're going to go on holiday to Belito a couple of weeks after that, which was weird because we never ever go there. Like, the only place we ever go is to Mossel Bay, to Hartenbos, because that's where almost the whole of Potch goes. Like, my whole town basically would be there, all our neighbors would be around there. And it's a lovely place, nothing against it. It was just weird because we always go there, So we go to Belito, I go look up this gym, find the gym, go there, meet the guy, and we have an insane conversation, like just an hour long about. But imagine you sitting there talking with someone who's even more passionate about the thing that you are so passionate about, but this person is 10 years older than you, and they sharing wisdom and experience with you, and I just felt like my brain is blowing up. I can't believe what I'm hearing. And at the end of the conversation, this guy says, but listen, why don't you come work for me? If you want to come, I'll give you a job. And that wasn't even closely my intention of going there. I just wanted to meet this guy. It sounded interesting, But I take him up on his word, and I start saving up money. And my dad says one day, listen, I'll give you some fuel money for fuel. Why don't you go down and look for a flat? So I go down there, I take one of my buddies with me, and we walk into one real estate agency, talk to one real estate agent. The lady says she'll send me the listings. I gave her my email. We walk out of there, walk straight into a weed shop, and just smoke the rest of the week, and just lie around watching series, go lazy on the beach. And I get back home and I realize, what did I just do? Literally, I just wasted my dad's money yet again. Now I'm sitting here, I don't have a flat, I have no idea where I'm going when I will be going to Belito. I don't know where I'm going to be staying. And my parents just kind of took the responsibility on them because I wasn't taking it. And they start looking for flats for me. And a couple of weeks go by, and the time is almost there that we're supposed to be going now, or that I'm supposed to be moving there. And my dad comes to me the morning, it was a Friday morning, he comes to me and he tells me, you have no idea what's been going on these past couple of weeks. He says they haven't been sleeping. My mom especially, my mom was so depressed because they couldn't find a flat, and they felt they're going to have to come and crush my dreams now and tell me that, listen, it's not going to work out. We can't find a place for you to stay, so we can't go. And just an hour before we were going to be driving, we get this call, and some friend of one of our family members phoned us up and told us there's a lady they know. She said a flat just opened up right next to them, a 2-bedroom flat for 8,500 rand. Now, you don't really get a flat, not that we saw, that was under 15,000 rand a month. So we jump on this opportunity, we go there, we move, they help me move there. My dad buys me a car. He starts paying for my rent. He says, okay, until I make my own cash, he'll pay for the rent. And they help me move in. And the next morning, they're supposed to leave. Now, by that time, something that was making me so depressed was that I was starting to go bald. I was losing my hair. And people who've gone through the same thing, men who've gone through the same thing, they know, like, it's horrible. Like, it felt like I felt unworthy of people's attention. I would walk into a place and feel like these people probably don't even want to see me, you know, they don't want to talk to me. Look at me, you know. And at that point I was just over it. So I told my mom, listen, please just shave my head. So she helped me shave my head. I felt like a new person walking around there, like finally all this like 10-ton bricks is off my shoulders, you know. I'm just so light. And the next morning I greet them, they're on their way, and I come back to my flat, and you know that feeling when you like sit in a place where they like people visited you and they leave now. You've got that empty house feeling. But this empty house feeling got really serious really fast because I realized I was alone now for the first time ever. I'm 23 years old. I'm alone. My family is 700 kilometers away, and I've got no idea what to do now. Like, I feel so alone, and it gets to me, and I start reminiscing really hard, thinking about all the good memories of being home. I think about school, and I think about my friends and my family, and I'm stressing because what if one of my family members dies while I'm away? And all of this is just going through my mind. And it feels like I take stock of my life, like I reevaluate what's been going on in my life. And I suddenly just see my life flashing before my eyes. I realized at one point I was a baby, literally unable to do anything for myself. And out of the love of their hearts for me, out of the love in their hearts for me, my mom and dad just sacrificed everything for me, like time and sleep and energy and money and whatever, time with their friends, like their social life, just to raise me, just to look after me, just to feed me and keep me healthy and happy. And they just did it without expecting anything in return. And I just suddenly feel so unworthy for all they did. Especially because the last couple of years I'd been living like a complete, like a bad person. Like, I was getting drunk, driving drunk with my dad's car. I was smoking weed all the time. The way I was treating girls, it just wasn't good. And I suddenly just feel so guilty over all of it. And I realized, like, I have to do something to like compensate for this. There must be a way that I can repay my parents for all they did for me. And I'm thinking about it and thinking, and nothing is coming to mind. And I realized maybe I never would be able to. I just feel like it's too big. Nothing can pay for this, you know. And a thought pops into my mind. They always took me to church, my brother and I, since we were small, and taught us about Jesus and taught us about how to pray and reading the Bible, and read the Bible to us. And I thought, well, I always just went to church because they took me. But if I actually, what if I actually start reading the Bible on my own and start trying to, you know, pray to God and start speaking to God? To do this, they always talked about having a relationship with Jesus instead of. They say it's not a religion, it's a relationship. You speak to him like he's a friend of yours, and you tell him what you're thinking about, what you're worrying about, what you're thankful for, what you need. And I start doing that. And as I start like sitting down and reading my Bible and praying, I feel less alone. And as I feel less alone, I do that more, and I start feeling peace. And whenever I'm anxious, I pray about it and I get peace. And I'm like, this can't be real. This can't really, you know? So I start heading out and start making friends and start working, and I work for this guy who became my mentor. He became like an older brother to me, and loving it, learning so much. And I go find my own church. I find my own little home group in church, my own community of friends who became like family to me, and just absolutely loving it. Loving being close to the beach all the time. I was on the beach as much as I could, especially in the mornings, watching the sunrise there. And just enjoying it so much. And one day I'm sitting there, I'm praying and I'm writing, I'm journaling a little bit. And as I'm writing, suddenly it feels like I get this huge inspiration, and I start writing faster than I can read what I'm writing. And it feels like I just got to get this down. Whatever this is, I got to write. And when I felt like I'm finally done writing now, I turn the pages and I see I just wrote like 10 pages. And I'm reading this as if I'm seeing it for the first time. And one part of it makes me realize the thing that I felt was missing in Belito was that I don't know where my heart is exactly. And by that time, I'm 24 years old. I feel like I'm almost on my way to settle there. And I'm questioning, like, should I settle there? You know, what is the plan? What is... The Bible teaches you God has a plan for your life. So what's the plan? And is it there? Because I don't want to do something I shouldn't do. Like, I'm enjoying it, but should I be there? You know? And I read these first 5 pages and I realized this is crazy. I'm reading about my cousin's kids. He's got 2 kids. He lives back in Potchefstroom. He's got 2 kids there. They're about 7 and 9 years old. And I just realized these 2 boys are literally probably the best thing in my life. Like, whenever I'm home, they just love to see me. They just chose me. I didn't do anything. They just chose me. They just said, I'm their hero. That's just how it went. They just want me to show them how to work out, like how to do exercises. I ride bike with them. I play with them. And I just realized I want to be close to these guys. Like, I don't want to be away from them anymore. And I realized why I feel that way so strongly. And it's because that cousin of mine who has the kids, he had a brother. When I was really small, his brother used to play with me all the time. He was like my favorite person on earth. But he was in his 20s, much older than I was. But he was always just so kind to me and playful with me. And he died in a motorcycle crash when I was still young. And I realized I have the opportunity now to be that kind of cousin. I can be that person to these boys. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. 100%, that's where my heart is. That's why even though Belito is awesome, it's just not that, you know? But there's 5 pages left, and I read the other 5 pages. And they basically screaming out at me, I have to go overseas. Like, now's the time. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I've got these kids that I care about, but they're not my kids. It's not my responsibility unless I choose it. So while I'm still free, I don't have a business, nothing's holding me back, why don't I go overseas? And I'm like, yeah, that makes 100% sense. Should I go do it right now? Because is this God speaking? Is God telling me this? I'll get in my car and drive to the airport right now, you know, if that's what it takes. So I start speaking with people, and I speak to my boss, the guy I was working for. He encourages me so much, tells me go do it. He says it'll be really good for me. I speak with so many other people as well, just to make sure that I'm not being crazy about this. And I would just like people's inputs, you know, and their advice maybe. So I speak with my dad, and my dad offers me a job. So I get a job opportunity in Limpopo, in Messina. I don't know if you would know where that is even. It's close to the border of Zimbabwe. Really not the town you would want to be in. No offense against the people living there. Really beautiful landscape, and the bush that they have there, and the baobab trees, and really an awesome place. But the town itself it just felt really unsafe, and I felt afraid walking around there, you know. I literally walked with my knife in my pocket, with my hand on my knife for the first couple of weeks. But then later I realized it's not that bad. It seems dirty and there's not much going on, but I know I had a purpose. I was there for a reason. I'm there to save cash, to go overseas. That's the point. So I felt content and happy, you know. A couple months in, my boss from Belito phones me and tells me, hey, listen, we're going on an adventure. We're going to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Do I want to come join? And I'm like, bro, of course I want to come join, but how much is it going to cost? And it turns out it's going to cost like 80% of what I was saving for that entire year. And I'm on the fence about it, not sure, and like I'm hesitating, and finally I decide maybe I never get the opportunity again. And I mean, what are the chances? Someone asking me that while I'm saving money to go overseas, you know? I mean, it's in Africa and it's for a week. It's not exactly, I had plans of like going to Switzerland for 3 months, you know? Or for years if I get a job. But I end up agreeing and start buying the plane tickets, start training really hard because I was stressing that I might die on the mountain, you know. So I start training really hard. I start climbing mountains. I get leave from work. I go climb mountains in the Drakensberg and in Cape Town and in the Free State by Clarence. And I discover climbing mountains is insane. I wish I knew this before. Like, the climbing it alone is awesome. Climbing it with people also. Like, the type of deep conversations you have there, just spending time away from your phone and away from distractions like in the normal social life that you have, it's just such a it's such a privilege to be able to do that. So we go climb it, and it was insane. It was last year. It was in 2023 July. We climbed it. I don't regret it at all. It was an awesome experience. But I get back, and my money is basically gone. And I decide, okay, I might as well then return to my hometown. We got the boys that's there that I want to be, I want to be in their lives again. So I guess that's the next step. But I've got 2 months salary left that I saved up. So I thought, before I would have gone overseas, I would have gone and greeted all my family across the country. So I might as well. Let's go do that. So I go do that, between the Eastern and the Western Cape especially. And I spend a lot of time in the Western Cape. And one day I go and meet up with a friend of mine. He's a teacher at high school in Stellenbosch at Paul Roos Gymnasium. And I go and meet up with him, and he introduces me to 2 of his friends. They say they're youth coaches. I'm like, okay, sounds cool. And they explain to me a church in Stellenbosch called Shofar Church kind of developed this role where you are like a Christian counselor type of person. So you get planted by a school, and that's what you do. Boys come in, or boys or girls, depending on what the high school is, would arrange a booking, or I could book a session with you and come and have a chat with you about what's going on in their lives or their minds, or what they're stressing about, or just, and because it's a dedicated Christian position, you can speak about the Bible and you can pray for them about things, and awesome, right? And I never knew something like that existed. So I go back to Potch, and I know there's a Shofar there as well. I go to Shofar, meet the pastor. He introduces me to the youth pastor. Youth pastor says he was the youth coach at our high school in Potch the previous year. And I'm like, awesome. He says if I want to do something like that, I just have to volunteer for a couple of months so they could get to know me, obviously, because they don't know me there. And I agree, and I start volunteering with him. And one of the things he does is he's got a kind of like a home group at the boys' hostel of the school where he was at Volkies High School in Potchefstroom. So we start going there, and every Thursday night we've got this little home group there, and we see the boys in the mess hall and speak to them, share a message, share testimony, speak about the Bible, answer some questions, break into small groups, and have start building relationships. And almost every time after a session has taken place, at least one boy would ask me if I can stay behind, and then he'd start talking to me and share with me privately things that I never knew I would hear, but such deep and personal things. And the more I listen, the more he speaks, and the more he speaks, the more I listen. And when it looks like he's done speaking now, I don't even start talking. I just keep on listening to him. And when he sees I don't start talking, and when he sees I'm still giving him attention, he just keeps on talking. Then he starts talking again, and he unpacks more and more. And I just feel this huge feeling coming over me, making me realize this is what I'm supposed to do. And while I'm sitting there, I'm not thinking about anything else. I don't think about doing anything else. I don't want to be anywhere else. I don't want to even look anywhere else. I'm looking him right in the eyes while he's talking to me. And man, then usually afterwards I pray for the kid, and then he goes off, and I just feel like, wow, what just happened? And that's been going on for the past couple of months now. So the other half of my day, I'm busy coaching cricket with a friend of mine who's got a private cricket academy at a primary school. So I'm busy there with boys aged 5 to 13, and that's obviously a whole other story, but also so fun because their problems are just on different levels, and they also would like to share. But yeah, it's nice to be able to listen to a kid, speak about something that's really big for him in his life, even though you're like, oh bro, that's nothing, And I just enjoy talking with them, and I'm finally getting to know these kids. They know my name now, I know their names, and it's just been picking up momentum. So a month and a half ago, I walked to a coffee shop with a friend of mine, and next to the coffee shop there's a CrossFit gym. And I've seen it and I've heard about the guy who's there, but I don't really have an idea. And we walk into the guy who owns the CrossFit gym. His name is Scott, an American guy. So I start speaking with Scott, organize a coffee, we go see each other, meet up, and we get to know each other. And he tells me what they do, and he drops the phrase fitness ministry. And I feel like I'm having an epiphany, and like what did he just say, you know? And I realized I always thought that it's your faith and church is like in one little box, and then your social life is in another box, and then your studies is in another box, and your career, and you've got your passions and your talents over there, and your dreams are all the way over there. And this guy's talking to me like all of these things are in one box for him. And he speaks about the way that they do fitness and the way that they use fitness as a platform to do ministry, to tell people about Jesus. And I'm just like, bro, are you serious? I can't believe that exists. And he tells me, yeah, but also it's not just his gym. He's part of a bigger organization. It's called YWAM, Youth with a Mission. And he's telling me about this thing, and he says it's like an international missionary school. And he says the next school starts in June. They do it in my hometown. They've got a base there. They train up people there to become missionaries. For 3 months, you go through a lecture phase, and then for 3 months, you reach out and you go to another country. And I'm baffled, but I don't really feel the urge to do it. I've never felt like I want to be a missionary. Even when I was still in Belito and thinking about going overseas, my dad asked, do you want to become a missionary? I was like, no, straight up, that's not what I want to do. So it's a great conversation with Scott, and I leave there feeling good. And 2 weeks later, the youth pastor says, listen, there's an outreach. They're going to a school in Limpopo, and they're going to be doing an outreach there. And do I want to go? And I'm like, yeah. And I go there. And the amount of freedom I experienced to just talk about my faith, to just not be ashamed about what I believe, because why should I be ashamed about it? But I always just was. I don't want to say the word Jesus. It feels awkward. What if you feel like offended, or you feel I'm kind of like pushing my faith onto you or forcing you to believe something, you know? So I'd rather just not talk about it, you know, just rather be safe and not say anything. Don't disturb anyone. And while we're there, we're then a dedicated role. Like the school introduces us to the teachers introduce us to the whole school. Like, we here for this week to speak about the gospel, to spread the gospel with these children. And I just suddenly feel like I can talk about it. So I talk and we share some messages and testimonies. And again, there's these moments where a boy or a girl would come to me and have a deep, significant conversation with me, and I'd listen and I'd hear them out. And again, it's profound, and I just love what I'm doing, and I get more confirmation that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I get back to my hometown after this outreach, and I realize even the outreach thing now is making sense. This whole missionary thing actually seems pretty cool. I mean, imagine just doing that for a life even. I don't know, but for a season of your life at least, it could be cool. So I go and meet up with Scott again, and he tells me, I ask him and I try to figure out, like, how does their schedules work? Because isn't there a way that I can still coach cricket and still see those other boys at the hostel while I'm doing this missionary school? And we go and I go look on the website to go see if there's like some kind of class schedule that they've got there. Man, and I go on that website and I see something pops up. It's like this little box, and the box says you're supposed to choose 2 options. You're supposed to say, what do you have a passion for, and where do you feel God is sending you to? And instantly I'm feeling like this is selfish. This can't be right. Like, isn't a missionary someone who gets chosen as a missionary and then just goes to wherever they send you? It doesn't matter where. You don't have a say. It's for God. It's not about you. You can't be happy or sad about where you're going to be going. You just got to go. But this website is saying differently. It's saying literally, you're going to go to a school that specializes in a passion that you have, and you get to say to which country you want to go to do the lecture phase. And mind-blowing. I mean, I go and check out all the passions. There's like 50 different passions to choose from. Every single one looks attractive to me at this point. And I see the counseling one, and I go click on the counseling one, and the counseling one takes me to Switzerland. And I go and check out what's available in Switzerland, and I find this one place, a missionary school, based at one of the highest mountains in Switzerland, in a town called St. Moritz, a small little alpine village. And I read up what they do. So for 4 days out of the 7 days of the week, these guys are hiking on the mountain. They're living on the mountain basically for 80%, 70% of the time. And that's where they do the lecture phase. So they've got like mountain guides and people training you up in the physicality, like the physical side of it, while the core of it is going through Bible school basically, and being taught as a missionary. And I see the next school starts 15 July. I'm like, that's not impossible to be able to do that. There's still enough time, even though it's short notice. By this time it's like end of May. I'm thinking, yeah, let's go do that. Maybe. At least I feel I'm intrigued by it. And I scroll down and I see it costs 200,000 Rand. And I'm like, okay, I know I don't have 200,000 Rand in my bank account. I've never done a visa, and I realized I would have to do a visa. It suddenly feels like I have to go write matric exam again. Like the stress just like attacks me. But I'm feeling peace and I'm feeling okay about it. And I just start praying about it. And when I pray about it, I receive peace. And when I receive the peace, I start thinking like, what's the next step? And I take the next step. And I decide, okay, this is what's gonna happen. Like, I feel God is calling me to do this. So I go and I fill in an application form, and the application form gets accepted. They let me know I'm accepted in the school. I'm like, okay, the doors are opening up. I guess I got to go about this thing now. So I start speaking to the travel agents about the visa thing. I've never done a visa. It's starting to go well, progressing slowly but surely, along with a lot of stress and anxiety, which I'm praying about. Then I get peace. Then there's some more progress. And I pray about it one day. I tell God, like, how am I supposed to? I can't make this money in a month. I can't make 200,000 Rand in a month. So if it's His will and it's His plan, then please provide for me. But also please tell me if there's something you want me to do, because I don't want to just sit back and be lazy. Like, tell me if you want me to do something. And I felt God says, just be obedient and go and share your testimony. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that I can do. So I start sharing my testimony, and I start sharing it with friends and family close to me, and then it ends up being people I don't even know sometimes. And the more I do it, the more I enjoy doing it. And the more I do it, the more I realize there's friends who I know and family who are so deep in their faith, but I just never knew, because you just never have the conversation, you know. And I'm like proclaiming my faith. I'm telling these people what I believe, and these people are reacting in so many different ways. In so many different ways, they're reacting to the story about how Jesus changed my life, how He changed my heart, and how my whole life is different now. And some people get emotional. Some people share some really deep, intimate things with me about what's happening in their lives, stuff I didn't ever even know about. And I get the opportunity to pray for people. And as this is going along, people are starting to donate some money to me to cover the costs of this mission trip, of this missionary school. And I just feel like I'm receiving blessing upon blessing, while I'm scared and afraid most of the time to actually tell people what I believe, because I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. Is someone going to curse you out or hit you or just like walk away from you? I don't want to feel rejection. But as I'm sharing this, I don't feel rejection, and I feel all the more people respond in love and gratitude for me for sharing it. And that's what's been going on these past couple of weeks now. I'm just driving around as far as I can go and see as many people as I can. At the moment, I'm on my way to my uncle in Port Elizabeth. I'm going to share my testimony with him there, and I'm sharing my testimony all the way along there. And next to or after that, I'm going to the Western Cape, sharing my testimony with friends and family there, because I'm supposed to be flying in a couple of days, 2 weeks from now, and I just can't stop talking about it. It's crazy. So that's what I wanted to share with you. The reason I'm sharing this is to give you hope. Like, I read a verse the other day, and it was saying something along the lines of, you are supposed to go, the disciples are supposed to, they're commissioned to go and share the gospel of peace. And I realized that's one of the core things about this faith, about believing in Jesus, is you have peace and joy. He gives you peace and joy freely. That's what you receive if you believe in Him. That's what you are entitled to in His kingdom, in the kingdom of God. And I'm I'm just living in this peace. While there's so many things that are stressing me out, I'm just living in this peace. And I want to share that with you. It's available to anyone who believes in what Jesus did, who believes that God created the earth, He created humans. Humans, because of sin, got separated from God in relationship, and Jesus came to restore that relationship. He came and He was crucified. He died on the cross. He was raised 3 days later, so He defeated death. So you've got no fear. Death holds no fear over you. When you die, you go to heaven with Jesus, because He went up to heaven after He was raised from the dead. He went up to heaven to prepare a place for us in heaven with Him. So you've got joy, because nothing on earth is that bad. Even the worst things aren't that bad, because this isn't permanent. This is temporary. After this, you go to heaven permanently, and you're with Him permanently there. But while He's still on earth, you're still living. I'm still living. What are you supposed to do? You've got a purpose. It's not something that some people have and some people that you've got a purpose. You've got talents and dreams. You've got passions. You've got things that you love to do. And it's all part of the story. It's all part of how God created you. You don't just have those things. God gave you those things. You have them because of Him. And it's your responsibility to manage them in a way that would give honor to God, because He's the one who gave it to you. It's just how you say thanks, you know? So I want to encourage you in that even though you don't know what you want to do, you'll find it. You'll find it if you spend time reading the Word and speaking to Jesus and praying and asking Him for it. He will reward you if you seek and if you ask. I'm thinking about a verse, I think it's in Psalms, where God says, you must find your joy in Him. Find your joy in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. This thing that is happening to me right now, I didn't even know that this is actually the desire of my heart. But the moment I received it, it's like at the same time I realized, actually that is exactly what I want. But I didn't know up until this point. And up until this point, I've been prepared. And I've been preparing. But I didn't know I was being prepared, or that I was preparing for this. Suddenly it's revealed to me, and now I'm super prepared. Like when they asked me about the application and they asked me the interview questions, all of the questions I answered, I got like 100% for it wasn't a test, but that's how it felt. It felt like I got 100% for an exam that I didn't study for. I mean, imagine them asking me, what's the greatest physical accomplishment of my life? And I tell them, I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. Because you're going there to go climb mountains. Obviously, that's just gonna like set the record straight. You know, that's just like, oh, this guy's experienced. He can come. It's no problem. That's no problem. You know, it's crazy. So yeah, so that's why I wanted to share this. It's not about me asking for donations or money or anything. This is about me sharing this with you. If you feel like God is telling you to donate money to me, I'll add a link. I'll try and sort out the Backer Buddy thing and put a link down in the description. But honestly, there's another verse that came up. It's the prayer of a righteous man has a powerful effect. So if you are a believer, if you believe in Jesus, you believe in God, and you pray, I believe it has a powerful effect. And if this has made some kind of impact in you or in your heart, and listening to what I'm telling you has made a difference, I want you to know that it is for you. And I would like you to share with me in the comments or wherever if there's something you want me to pray for you for. But I also would love it if you could pray for me for being on this journey and trying to share this message with as many people as I can, so I could reach more people to pray for them as well, and to hopefully touch their lives. So yeah, that's thanks for listening. This is coming up on 44 minutes now. If you stuck it out all the way, well done. I congratulate you, and I thank you for listening. I really appreciate it when people listen to me. Listening is so rare these days. So if you listen to this point, thank you. Thanks for you, and just may God bless you. Thank you. Bye bye.